All right, today we're going to break down two of the most powerful concepts in the world of project management, Agile and Scrum. So let's dive right in and see how today's top teams are literally building the future and doing it faster than ever before. You ever find yourself wondering how the tech giants, your Googles, your Microsofts, your Amazons, how they manage to roll out new products and features with what looks like impossible speed and accuracy? It's a massive challenge for sure, but a huge piece of the puzzle is in the way they work. And yeah, a big part of that answer is Agile and Scrum. Now, these aren't just trendy buzzwords you hear in meetings. They are the actual engine powering some of the most innovative and successful teams on the planet. So let's unpack what they really mean. Okay, first things first, let's zoom out to the big picture. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of how teams do this, we really have to understand the philosophy behind it all, and that is the Agile mindset. So, right off the bat, let's clear up this single, most common point of confusion. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Agile is the philosophy. It's the methodology, the what, and the why of your approach. Scrum, on the other hand, is a specific framework you use to actually put that philosophy into action. It's the how. So, what is this Agile methodology all about? Well, at its core, it's really a fundamental shift toward being adaptable. Forget those old school models of a single massive project launch that takes years to complete. Agile is all about breaking work down into small, manageable chunks. And that simple idea, it unlocks everything. It lets teams be flexible, collaborate constantly, and, most importantly, deliver real, tangible value to the customer way, way faster. And these four principles from the Agile Manifesto, they were pretty radical when they were written. It says we should value people and how they interact more than rigid processes. It says having a working product is way more important than having pages and pages of documentation. It pushes for constant collaboration with the customer, not just haggling over a contract at the beginning. And here's the kicker, it's all about responding to change, not just blindly following a plan that might be out of date by week 2. This isn't just a small tweak, it's a complete flip of traditional project management on its head. Okay, so if Agile is the mindset, how do you actually do it? How do you make it real? Well, let's move on to the Scrum framework and see how this all gets built. And this is exactly where Scrum comes into play. If Agile is the mindset, you can think of Scrum as the playbook. It's the most popular way to actually implement Agile because it gives you that concrete structure, the specific roles, the meetings, the tools that a team needs to turn those powerful Agile principles into a daily habit. The absolute heartbeat of Scrum is something called the sprint. Just think of it as a short, focused race, a protected cycle of time that's usually 2 to 4 weeks long. During that sprint, the team commits to a specific chunk of work with one simple but critical goal: deliver a working piece of the product by the end. It's this relentless, repeating rhythm of making and delivering that builds incredible momentum. Now, a Scrum team is really interesting because the roles are so clear and focused. First, you have the product owner, who is basically the voice of the customer. They decide what gets built. Then you have the Scrum Master, who acts as a kind of coach, making sure the team follows the process and, crucially, clearing any roadblocks out of their way. And finally, you have the development team, the experts who are actually designing, building, and testing the product. To keep all this work organized, Scrum uses 3 key tools, which they call artifacts. The product backlog is the master wish list. It's every single thing the product could ever need, all prioritized. From that list, you create the sprint backlog, which is basically the to-do list just for the current sprint. And the increment? That's the prize. It's the valuable, usable piece of the product the team has created by the end of the sprint. And this whole sprint cycle is guided by 4 key meetings, or events. You kick things off with sprint planning, where you decide what work to pull in. Then, every single day, you have a quick 15-minute daily scrum to sync up and see what's in the way. At the end of the sprint, you have the sprint review, where the team gets to show off what they built. And finally, my favorite, the sprint retrospective. That's where the team talks about what went well, what didn't, and how they can get even better next time. It's a perfect, continuous loop of planning, doing, and improving. So we have the philosophy, and we have the framework. But the real question is, does this all actually work? Let's take a look at the proven benefits, because this is why so many teams swear by this approach. And this is really where the rubber meets the road. The results speak for themselves. Teams that embrace Agile and Scrum consistently deliver faster, they collaborate better, and they build higher quality products. And because the customer is involved throughout the entire process, satisfaction just skyrockets. But honestly, the real superpower here is the ability to adapt to change. A new market trend or a brilliant new idea doesn't derail the project, it just becomes the next exciting opportunity to tackle. This quote really just wraps it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Agile is the destination you're aiming for, flexibility and constant improvement. And Scrum gives you the roadmap to get there, with its very specific roles, events, and artifacts. They are an absolutely powerful combination. So, I'll leave you with a question to noodle on. Even if you're not a software developer, it doesn't matter what you do. How could you apply this mindset? Breaking big challenges into small steps, collaborating all the time, and always looking for ways to improve. How could an agile mindset change the way you work?